around, and I have to really push her to get her to do things. And so finally she got one of my favorite people on the show. So I'm excited about that. But first of all, we want to let you guys know we're going to be talking all about how to, products on Pinterest and all the e-commerce and all that cool stuff. So if you know of somebody who this would be like, this is awesome for, you need to let them know down below. Make sure to mention them, let them know that we're live, and they can even watch the replay if it's not convenient for them, but it's going to be a great show. And I always like to start with a question, like, this is going to be a good one, I think. So if you could have any product, let's not say you don't even have it out now, it's not even created yet, what would it be, and what would you have it be on Pinterest? Like, for me, well, let's see, what I would like to have a wood carving course, and that I could sell on Pinterest.
So this is a product you're creating?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be anything. It's just kind of a dream. Like, if you could do anything you think that would sell really well on Pinterest, what would it be? Let us know down below. Elisa, what would be a product that if you could have anything on Pinterest, what would it be?
Oh my goodness.
Come on.
That's too hard.
Would it be one of your pouring things?
Morning. I mean,
or would you want something that really sold? Like, if I could do like wedding photography, that would be whatever.
I was thinking this morning that I wish I had time to update my promoted pins course, my Pinterest advertising course.
Oh yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah.
Vanessa, what about you? You probably have.
I have a good answer. Well, I have been kind of obsessed with cleaning tips. I don't know if any of you guys have seen some of these cool coronavirus type cleaning tips. So I think having a course on how to like clean your whole home like efficiently with like 3 products would be super cool.
That's right.
Could we do it in 3 minutes?
3 minutes. Oh, clean it in 3. That would be great. Yeah.
I think it could teach you like how to speed clean, like like batch these things together. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I'd buy that.
Oh, this is a great one. We got some people coming in that would be like, I work with people who wood carving is part of their courses. It's a wonderful small holding. That's cool. You need to send me that one. Yeah. That'd be good. So you've already got people who are sticking up for you, Elisa, saying,
Thank you.
Quit picking on Elisa.
Thanks, Shireen.
Oh, God. Anyway, we're excited.
I know
for you guys
it is
today.
my fault though that you never have met the wonderful Vanessa Kynes.
I know it is, and so you want to introduce Vanessa because I just kind of gushed and fanboyed a little bit. So why don't you go ahead and introduce her, and we'll get the show going.
Yeah, so Vanessa is a Pinterest marketing strategist and an amazing blogger. I always love her images. They're just soft and feminine like her. And so she's a YouTuber, a blogger, a consultant who mostly works with small businesses on their traffic generating Pinterest marketing strategies. And she is married and has 3 very adorable daughters. And I'm pretty convinced that her life is like an Instagram fairy tale, just because, that's where I see her all the time is Instagram. So I'm sure that's 100% correct, right, Vanessa?
Those filters are really misleading. They are getting really good too. Most days right now I did put makeup on, but most days you just need a filter and you're done. So it's pretty impressive.
Very cool. So we're going to kick it off. You guys, we've got Vanessa just for this next hour. So make sure you're asking your questions because, this is a very popular subject, and I'll try to pull up as many as I can during the show today. But let's just kind of do a big, broad overview as we get started talking about, how to sell your products on Pinterest. So Vanessa, in a nutshell, how does selling work on Pinterest? I know there's been some new updates, but kind of give us a little overview on that.
Well, yeah, I really do think actually the platform in general is really shifting a lot towards e-commerce, which is interesting because I always saw it as like this idea generation place before you're ready to make a purchase. But I feel like through some of their new tools, like, they're newer, like a shop the tag where you can tag products. And also now they have the explore tab, but then also the shop tag. We see that Pinterest is trying to marry the idea to like the problem, which is hopefully a product. So, I mean, I still think that content marketing and blogging and creating video content about your products still has a huge most of my clients who are primarily product-based businesses utilize those content marketing tools to get more awareness about their products. So Pinterest really is a great place for that beginning awareness. And then also towards the end of the client or customer journey, they're like, okay, this is the solution, the product I want to purchase.
Gotcha. Very, very cool. We do have a bunch of questions already. And so I don't know if, Elisa, you can drop this in the comments or not, but people are asking already, because we built you up so well, is that we want Vanessa's website or contact info. So we'll make sure that we drop that in the link down below. So yeah, so we've got a lot of questions coming in.
If you're listening to the podcast, though, it's VanessaKynes.com. Vanessa, will you spell your name for us?
VanessaKynes.com.
Awesome. Yeah. So go check her out. Check her out on Pinterest. She's amazing. So go ahead and start with the deep dive questions, Elisa, because Alyssa.
Yeah.
So I had to do
hey,
that.
Greg.
Because I want to get into some questions, and you guys are already starting to roll them in, and we'll bring those up here in a second. But let's go ahead and with some ones that you already have.
Okay, so we talked about some things we would like to sell on Pinterest. We'd like to sell maybe a course about cleaning, about woodworking, about Pinterest advertising. But what kinds of things can you sell? Is it all about selling courses? What else can you sell?
You can definitely sell. Those would probably be more like digital products, so you don't have to actually have inventory. So when you think about the profit margin is really high after you've generated the course, filmed it, produced it. But then obviously there is a huge role, and I think probably bigger role in physical products. And so, you're going to see Anthropologie putting out all their major Christmas items. You're going to see J. Crew. You see all the major physical brands utilizing Pinterest. So I think it's great for both, but it really is a powerful way when you're selling something that's kind of niche, like woodworking. It's a really powerful way to introduce someone to the idea when they may not have had it before. I always like to tell my clients when I'm explaining what Pinterest is if we want to buy a pair of Nike tennis shoes, we usually go straight to a shoe store, right? But if we want to know what the trends in tennis shoes are for 2020, that's the type of thing we're going to begin on Pinterest. And this is a great opportunity for smaller brands who aren't well known like Nike or whatever it happens to be able to feature their products without competing with the powerful Nike on SEO or even on other social channels.
Got it. So one of the first questions, because we've had it a lot, and so we're going to jump into some nerdy details, as I like to say, and this is from our pal Sally Howe, who always shows up almost every week.
Sally.
And she asked this question: when will we get in shop tags in the UK, please? So do you two know if? And then somebody said, "Well, I've got them. I can see them." But do you know when they're rolling out? Are they've already rolled out, or what's the deets on the UK?
I don't know, but it looks like somebody in the comments says that they can see them. So that's interesting.
Do you know, Elisa, all things Pinterest person?
Yes. So I'm looking at the help. Oh, where is that? Products. I thought it said it was available in the UK. I'm not sure, but if somebody has it, that means that they're probably rolling out, which is a good sign for you in the UK.
Right. So we've kind of talked about how does selling work, what kind of things we can sell. So this is really, really interesting because it's probably changed, Vanessa, when you first started to what's kind of the trend is now. But what kind of images are you seeing work the best for products?
Great question. So quite honestly, I think this is where it's a little bit different from just content, like creating a blog post. I see squares performing really, really well. And I think that, we're used to seeing squares on other platforms as well. And just an image of the product. I think Pinterest says that they're happy with square images as well as a 2x3. So don't be afraid to utilize square images. The good thing is, if you're using a platform like Shopify, most of your product images that you're sharing on that website are square format anyway. So you can just grab those using Tailwind and schedule them out using the Tailwind queue. So I absolutely see square performing. I see square videos performing as well. So don't be afraid to take a little bit of a sidestep, even though Pinterest still says it's fine, and utilize square in your product images.
That's awesome. So one of the things is the square video, I think, is really, really important. And I just did a big deep dive on video pins. And one of the things, this is just my hypothesis, I think that square is performing really well as video because when you do a promoted pin, for example, which is I see a lot of promoted pins now are video. is you get more real estate at the bottom because it opens it up underneath your video when it's a promoted video pin. And I think that might be why those are performing better. Just a guess, but I'm testing it right now. But I think there's some cool stuff with video promoted pins. Anyway, so back to the images thing. So are you, because we've talked about it before, like, how important text overlay is on images, and because Pinterest can read that and it's part of the SEO kind of strategy. But also you see other, like some of the bigger brands where they just have the product by itself, like either isolated on a white background, or they have, it's like not, I wouldn't say it's a lifestyle shot, but it's very isolated, but it's just not on a white background, but it's got some design to it. Do you like to have text on product images, or do you like it just to show the product by itself? And have you experimented with that at all?
Well, I think it depends. I mean, I think if it's a sweater from J. Crew or Anthropologie, it's very obvious what you're shopping. And typically, if you're using a shot like a rich pen, like a product pen, it's going to tell you it's a wool sweater and it costs $56, right? So that's totally fine. But if you're going to be selling a digital course, I think it does require more context and a little bit more copy to get people interested. So if you're going to be talking about that woodworking course and you just have a picture of you like whittling something down, I don't think that the person on Pinterest knows what it is you're doing. Are they going to see you doing your work, or are they going to need more information that, hey, like we're going to take your woodworking to the next level through this course? So I think it really depends on just like, literally, is it obvious that your product is good? Now, a little side note is I think that you do see this a lot, especially around the holiday time. You do see brands incorporate, you see this a lot in emails on their banners. They'll introduce sale items like 40% off holiday items, or they'll add some kind of like graphic or text overlay to make it more seasonally related. So don't be afraid to do that. Incorporate those images into seasonal context as well. So it's a little bit of both, I would say.
Gotcha. And that's the cool thing is you can test that stuff on Pinterest, which is awesome. Lisa, did you have a
always
question?
want to at least, you always want to add at least some branding, right? Because if people are going to be seeing your pins, you might as well be using them to increase brand awareness. That's a nice thing to do, especially when it's completely free. A lot of times though, like lifestyle images will convert better. So I would test, like, definitely a sweater is obviously a sweater. So you like share those as well, but try them also in a lifestyle image. And like Vanessa, you were saying, bringing in the seasonality. So put it into a setting that we're thinking about right now, because I'm not really thinking about springtime right now. I'm really thinking about fall. So that's what's going to be relevant to somebody right now. And I know like we have the new tool coming out, Tailwind Create, which we've talked about on the show before. And we just got a really great video from a user who's a fine artist. And she said, I was really skeptical because every pin I see for fine art is just the art itself. It doesn't have any elements on it. It has no branding. It has no text on image. So I wasn't really sure. But I used Tailwind Create, and the pins I made from that tool are getting 3 times the results of the other pins I've made, which are just straight images. So again, even though it seems like nobody else is doing it, test it, because you may be onto something.
Yeah.
And I should clarify that when I mean you can use a lifestyle image, but without text is kind of what I meant to clarify that.
Can you say that again? You broke up for just a minute, or maybe it was just
me. What I mean is not just a product image of like a flat lay, even though you can use that, but I mean an image of a lifestyle image without text overlay can still perform as well. Yeah. But I want to push guys to use video, because I mean, video is just such a powerful tool, like stop motion of you opening the product. There's just so many cool things that you can do. And I feel like you don't have to be a video expert to make that happen.
Yes.
And by the way, you kind of teased it a little bit, Elisa, with the Tailwind Create. So we do have something very, very cool that we're doing. If you go to bit.ly/create something for me, all lowercase, all smashed together. Tell them what this is, because I just walked through it a little bit and it's pretty cool. So I'm excited for next week. So little teaser.
So One of your favorite things we've noticed is when we do like a pin critique, or we maybe have Julie or Justine or Tina or someone on to give suggestions about your images. So we thought, wouldn't it be fun to just to make some images for people? So what we're looking for is for you to send your URLs and like give us, that means you give us permission to show it on a show, and we're going to make some images for you and then show them off. So it's going to be really, really fun and interactive show. So please be part of it. We want you to be part of it.
Yeah. So bit.ly/create something for me. They get the pins after we're done creating them? Do we send them to them?
I think we should. I don't really know
should.
how I'm going
to
give us their
blog,
but
we'll figure it out. Yeah, so
we'll
go sign up.
out.
Give us your blog posts or your or products or whatever, and we will start creating those with this new awesome
and Jeff
tool.
will email each of you individually. So you just volunteered.
Thank you so much for that. So we talked about images, but I want to pull up some questions here because I thought there were some good ones that. Okay, so let's just. This is from Desiree says this, and she wants to clarify: is it true people look 2 to 3 months ahead for ideas? So now would be Christmas. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, speak into that a little bit.
The best, yeah, I mean, absolutely. So, Desiree, like the best thing to do, and I mean, Christmas starts a lot sooner, but when you think about it, I mean, people are really making those purchases. They're trying to catch things during Amazon Prime Day and definitely Black Friday. So it goes way back. But the trends tool on Pinterest can actually tell you some of that data, like when types of holiday content is peaking. So that's a good tool for you to like look at to see, hey, like when should I begin promoting this idea?
Yeah,
awesome.
It's a great point. And this year, if you remember, they really started trending up in April, which is about 2 months early. Actually, 3 months early. It's usually July they start really heading up. But this year, people were like, give me something fun to do.
We have nothing else to do but shop online.
Yep.
And shopping is going to be so much bigger this year than ever before. When you think about it, no one's going to be, people will be in the retail stores, but never more than history, I think, than now that we're going to have online shopping.
In fact, I want to say something that I've been reading a lot about, and I think if you have a store, you need to think about this now. Think about your shipping, because I'm getting a lot of reports already from people starting to get a little nervous because everybody is going to be shipping stuff more, and you want to make sure if you're a small store, if you're an Etsy store, that you get those products to the people on time. So if you need to bump up your shipping window, you need to start thinking about that, because that's going to be a big deal this year. I'm a little nervous about, like Vanessa said, people are going to be shopping because we don't have anything else to do, and that's going to be even a bigger hit on the transportation and all that stuff. So if you have a shop, I would start really thinking ahead about that. This is a great question too, because where'd it go? Just a second. It was a really good one. It was about, this is it. So this is from Donna. She asked this question. Can you sell affiliate products on Pinterest? Because it's not really a product, it's not e-commerce, but you still get money from it. And I know a lot of bloggers use this. So Vanessa, what are your thoughts about affiliate income on Pinterest?
Yeah, I mean, I get this question. I would totally love to hear y'all's thoughts on it too. I feel like when you pin content that's not connected to your confirmed domain, it doesn't get the same traction. And then, of course, there's going to be some rules. Each affiliate program has different rules on how they'd let you handle this. But I always feel like it's better if you're representing a product and you're an affiliate of that product to link them back to your website and talk about the results that you got or the transformation or even just the experience you got with that product. What do you think?
Yeah. Totally. I think that one of the challenges with affiliate marketing, like there are a couple different ways to do it, right? You can do it in a way where you're just sharing an affiliate link and it's like, give me. Like, and I'm not giving you anything but an image, right? But what you're talking about, Vanessa, is you're providing inspiration and information, which is what the platform of Pinterest is all about. So like couple different ways to look at it.
Yeah. And I would echo that as well. So let me pull up some. Let me get a question. You go ahead and ask yours, Elisa. While there's another one I just missed, so I want to pull this one up. So go ahead.
Yeah, go for it. So, all right, product tagging. What is that all about? How do you do it? How does it work?
Yeah, I mean, I've been using it for a long time now. I feel like it just kind of secretly shows over a year ago, and I was like, hey, like this is happening. Let's do this. And the reason why I liked it is because, let's talk about a digital product like a course. If you had a pin on like how to use Pinterest in 2019, thinking this is back when I saw it, I could actually tag that particular blog post with my products, this course, or a Canva Pinterest templates, or something else related to that. So I always thought it made a great connection because you've got this problem, how to use Pinterest. Hey, here's a solution for you. So I've been tagging, but then on the physical side, I also tag products that are similar. So if there's an image of a piece of artwork, I will product tag similar type images, kind of like when you see on Amazon where you have, hey, like here's some related products that might get you thinking. Okay. The one thing is, I feel like a long time ago, there used to be a tagging product analytic on Pinterest Analytics, but it's not there anymore. And so I can't really verify if product tagging is like super, I can't measure it, I guess. Sometimes we just can't measure things as well on Pinterest. But I like the concept that people are seeing the products before them. And I like that brand awareness.
So let me just kind of clarify like what you're doing. So you might have a client who maybe they're home design retailer. Mm-hmm. So maybe you'd have like an image of a living room, and maybe you tag a couple of things that are actually in the photo as product links, and then a couple of things that are just kind of similar from that same store. Is that how you do it?
Yeah, so you could do both things. So let's say you had an image of a living room, then tag all the products. And we see brands doing this. So, it makes it easier to shop. We see this on Instagram a lot where you can shop the page essentially. But also if you were to share an image of the lamp alone, let's say you like zoomed in on the image and you just took the lamp, you could also cut that image and then tag similar products like other lamps in your shop. So there's different ways you can use the same image or even just expand your tagging capabilities on there. And the reason why I really like that, this is what I really like about Pinterest. Being a new homeowner, we just moved to a house at the beginning of the fall, is that I like literally am in shopping mode all the time. And I love that Pinterest is a really powerful visual tool. So like it knows when I'm looking at cream colored lamps, and you can, push it up on your browser and see all the different related products. And that comes from putting your product on Pinterest. So not only do you have the opportunity to share your keywords, but through the visual search, it can match your product with other products and related products so that you can get someone to click over and make a purchase.
I really love what you're saying about that. And it's kind of like when you tag a product, it's almost like creating a more like this right on your pin, which goes just to your own products, that's very clever.
Yeah. And when you use rich pins, like product rich pins, and put them on Pinterest, then Pinterest now knows like this is a product and we're going to feature this in the shop tab. I mean, that's how it knows it's a shopping item versus just like a lifestyle image.
Right. Very cool.
Can you explain, you just mentioned it, what the difference is between a product pin is and a product rich pin?
Oh, I mean, I was kind of thinking them as one and the same. So a product rich pin, I mean, we know there's 4 types of rich pins, is basically just like a schema where the website knows, and you have to use one of these e-commerce platforms like Shopify or WooCommerce, and it can pull data about it. So it can pull the title of the product, the quantity, the price, right? So that's a rich pin. You can also share an image of your product if you don't have one of those schemas and markups, and it can still be a product, but I guess it's not pulling all the data with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people are saying product tagging is Maria says product tagging is driving me crazy. So I've seen some little buggy stuff too, but I wanted to get that definition because it is kind of confusing, and even Pinterest helps a little bit confusing. Elise and I've had many a messenger going, "What is going on?" So anyway, so just this is from Paul, and I want to bring this up. So can you explain a little bit on this? We talked about Pinterest Create, and we're doing that special thing next week where you guys can send in, and we're going to create some pins for you. But is Tailwind Create separate from your account? So give us a little kind of rundown, Lisa, what it is.
Oh, well, the lovely thing about it is that with Tailwind Create, you can plan, create, schedule, and analyze all of your Pinterest needs in one place from Tailwind. So if you have a Tailwind account, you will shortly be able to try it. And there will be kind of like a free tier for people. And then there will be, of course, paid options for more features, more pins. But yeah, the great thing is it's all built in. So you create it inside Tailwind, send it right to drafts. It's so cool.
It's
Like
amazing.
no more downloading.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
So this link we're putting up here, bit.ly/create something for me. That's where you can submit like a blog post or something like that you want us to demonstrate how this tool works. So make sure you tune in next week. Make sure you submit your URL, and we will have some fun creating some cool images.
Yes.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome. So some more questions I want to pull up from our awesome audience. You guys keep the questions coming because we'll try to answer as many as we can. And I loved how Anela did this for me. She actually phonetically spelled out her name because she knows she knows me, and she knows how bad I am at this. So she asked, so I lost the ability to create story pins, and I'm waiting to hear back from Pinterest, but this is the important part. How can story pins help with selling on Pinterest? I think that's really a great question.
Yeah, I mean, something just popped in my head, especially as we think about holidays. Could be really cool to create a story pin where you do like a story shop like guide in the pin. So you could just say like 5 things to get your wife for Christmas, and then you can throw up different products on each of the story pins and just display how they work. I think it'd be really great if one of those pins wasn't still and if it was moving. Could be really, really, really cool. The ideas just come to me. If the like beginning of the story pin or one of the last images is you like wrapping it up with a bow, like just how dynamic that would feel right now. But I think just like in general, showing how your products work or doing holiday gift guides, which are really popular. If you're going to do them though, like get them out like soon, are really great ways. And you can incorporate that into a story pin. You could turn that into a video. You can make that into a blog post. So feel free to basically like convert it from one tool to another so that you're not just recreating it for one thing like story pins.
Awesome.
Yeah. So did either one of you attend the Pinterest Creators Festival last week?
I didn't. I was doing a live, so I wanted to, but I've heard good things.
Not live. Yeah.
Not live. Okay. But there was a session on how to stand out in the feed, and a lot of the whole day was about story pins, and they give some great tips. Like their recommended narrative is to use a video cover. So the first part of your story would be a video with title or text, and then show what you need for whatever it is, and then show a step-by-step, then show the finished creation and a call to action. And then every one of them ends with like a feature of the creator on it. So I think that fits really great with what you were saying, Vanessa, and that's what they're seeing is working. So if you haven't done the Creators Festival, that was a good session, and you can still watch them online. Just Google Pinterest Creator Festival.
Cool.
Yeah, and honestly, they are pushing stories, right? They're all over the feed. But one of the cool things about that teaches us, because obviously they have a lot of analytics, is that video and movement really catch people's eyes. So it's important to utilize those, even for your products.
That's a great point. So this is a great question from Maggie. She asked this. So if you are creating your pins in Tailwind, are you creating a rich pin? So Vanessa, can you kind of, once again, kind of give us a little overview on how that works once you submit it as a rich pin?
Yeah. Maggie, could you tell us what kind of platform you're using what kind of website you're using? There's 4 types of rich pins. There are product pins, which we talked about. There are articles, which is what you would see most. There are recipes or right? Where they like show, we see these on Pinterest, they show the ingredients, but you have to click through to get the whole recipe. And then there are app pins, which I've never had the opportunity to use. So you don't automatically have rich pins on your website, but it's super easy to do. You just need to grab one blog post, not your homepage, one blog post, and go to Google Pinterest, a rich pin validator, pop in that blog post and go through the process. And it typically is pretty smooth and validates you. So once you've done that once, you don't have to do it again. Pinterest will be able to tell if it's a product, if you later have products, or if it's an article. So it's important to do, but once you've done it, it's kind of a one and done deal.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
and then anything you pin from any method will be a rich pin because it has to do with your website as opposed to how you're scheduling it.
So that's the cool thing. Also, because like, let me see, this is from Sally. She says, Tailwind Create is really, really clever and so easy to use. Thanks, Sally, for that. And the cool thing is since I've already gotten my blog posts and all that stuff validated, like Vanessa was saying, when I create those, if I create variations with Tailwind Create, they're already rich pins because I've already verified my website and my blog, and so I can do that right in Tailwind. So they're rich pins already. So it's very, very cool. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it's different from confirming and claiming your domain. So don't confuse those two. It's kind of just a small little quick step. It's not like a lot of work.
Yeah.
No, and I saw that you have directions for specific platforms on your site, Vanessa, on your blog.
Yeah.
So you check out vanessakynes.com.
So we've teased Shopify, and I'm a big fan of Shopify because I used to build e-commerce sites back in the day, and it makes it so easy. But I think it's a little bit confusing because a lot of people think that once you have a Shopify site and they have this new Pinterest app that you plug into your Shopify, and people think, okay, then boom, I'm done. I got product rich pins and all that stuff, but that's not really what happens. Can you kind of explain the whole Shopify and then this Pinterest merchant verification thing that's going on as well, Vanessa?
Yeah. So like you said, Shopify is primarily an e-commerce platform. It's not primarily a blogging platform like, say, WordPress. So its blogging capabilities aren't as strong, but its e-commerce capabilities are really powerful. And so, they've always had I feel like they have just good relationship with each other, Pinterest and Shopify. And they came out with this way to basically get more analytics from Pinterest. And I 100% love it because in the past, I've struggled at times to show attribution of a sale. So when someone makes a sale, did it come from Pinterest? And a lot of times we have to understand okay, the person visited from Pinterest and then later on came back to the website through email or something else and made a purchase. Well, you wouldn't get credit for that for Pinterest, even though it really was the introducing item, that first touch. The last touch would get the credit for the sale. Maybe that was email. So now Pinterest and Shopify have this way through their conversion insights of seeing how much revenue Pinterest is actually generating you on product sales. You can look at things like what pins are leading to the most sales or most revenue, what pins are leading to the most add to carts. Maybe you have an issue between add to cart to checkout and you need to work on that on your website. So that's what the app does. They're verified. And I believe you can get that without being a verified merchant. I believe you can.
Yeah. Product feed. Yeah, that's the first step. And then you get verified.
Yeah. So being a verified merchant, I'm going to pull up actually, just so I've set it up and I haven't had issues, but I know a lot of people do have issues. And so I want to make sure we address that. But it's basically you get a special fancy check mark on your profile. It makes you look more legit. And, you get, it just, other than that, you get the shop tab, which is first. It's in front of your created, the way the profile looks right now is kind of changed anyway, but your shop tab is first. So you're primarily kind of pushing your shop products on there. But I also feel and I don't want this to discourage people if you can't try it and then reject it and you're still trying to get access to it. I do feel there's a little bit of special woo-woo once you become a verified merchant as well, because Pinterest will push your items. Because basically what they've said is they've vetted your website and your products, everything like that. So,
yeah, I think it actually appears in favorable spots where people are more likely to purchase. And I can't remember what those spots are now, but you definitely want to do it if you can. So you said that there are some issues, and I think the issues are with people being accepted into the verified merchant program. Yeah. And you said you had some reasons why that might happen.
Yeah. And honestly, I I understand as a content creator, I really understand it's difficult to have all these powerful tools. You know, we may have a small marketing budget, whereas like some of these bigger brands have the best photographers in the world. But some of the things that they list are even as simple as, I've heard people say, if you have an ampersand in your brand and it's like Vanessa and Lulu, let's say, that's the name of my brand. But on Pinterest, I say Vanessa ampersand Lulu. That disconnect can even get you rejected. Having grammatical errors. So make sure your copy is good. And copywriting is a huge part of making the sale, if not one of the biggest parts of making the sale. Pinterest can only do so much work getting them to your website.
Mm-hmm.
I think really importantly, and this is where I know a lot of people struggle, so I'm saying it with like encouragement,
with
love. Photographer, and a lot of people who sell products are, and they kind of have that advantage, but are the images, right? Like Pinterest wants the platform to be beautiful and high-end looking and clean. And so sometimes they say, you know, the images are fuzzy or grainy. The image on Pinterest doesn't really match with what goes to your website. So maybe you stole an image or maybe you were using, maybe not steal, you were using a stock image, but the website is just like completely off brand from what you were kind of representing on Pinterest. So a lot of little things, small little nuances, but keep working at it and don't get discouraged. You can obviously still share your products on Pinterest without being a verified merchant. But a lot of selling well is having some of these components in place anyway. So I don't feel like cleaning up your website and getting better images is a wonderful idea for your overall sales strategy anyway.
Yeah, and are there maybe little things like, well, not little things so much, but like privacy policy and shipping and return policies, having those kinds of things that we should really have anyway? And will they tell you if you're rejected, will they tell you why, so you can kind of chip away at them?
So I haven't had any clients rejected because they did have those things in place. And so before I applied, I made sure, you know, I went through the list. They did have their privacy policy, their return policy was very obvious. But I think what they do is kind of send you like a list of things, a little bit more boilerplate, if I understand it correctly. Yeah. So, you might be able to go onto the community group on Pinterest and get more answers, which is an interesting tool to have one-on-one access with them now.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. So I think there's some confusion with Shopify, what you get with it versus just getting with your Shopify store connected. Because I have a testing Shopify store and I've got it, you know, stuff going, but I don't have the verification. So a couple questions. Do you need, this is from Stacy, do you need to have Shopify to create shop tags on Pinterest? And you do not, correct?
No.
Right.
No, you need to have, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, I mean, you need some kind of e-commerce type system. So it could be WooCommerce, which you can use on WordPress. Etsy is a product pin. I mean, it doesn't have to be Shopify. I just think that it's pretty obvious that Pinterest and Shopify have a really strong relationship with I guess I'll call it a collaboration with each other.
Yeah, I think the other benefit too is that if you want to have a product feed where it's actually kind of scrapes all your inventory every day and creates pins that are updated with all that information, that's where you want that product. That's something else you need to get to be a verified merchant. And setting up a product feed on a platform other than Shopify is really tricky. So with the Shopify, it takes about 1.5 minutes and it is done, and no error messages. It's really easy.
So
it takes some major computer engineering understanding or computer science understanding to understand how to upload a catalog pre the verified merchant days.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
Yeah, and from what I understand, you can use the same format as a Google shopping feed, but that to me was not any much help. So if that means something to you, maybe it will help you.
So does Shopify automatically give you product rich pins?
I don't know, actually. I've always, whenever I'm setting someone up, I always just go through the process anyway and go through the validator. I feel like they might. They might. What do you think?
I don't think well, I have mine's jacked up because mine's a testing site because I test stuff there all the time. But so far, mine do not. Like, I don't have product rich pins, and I'm like, that's why I was like, okay, do you have to have the verified merchant before you get product rich pins? Or
no, you don't need to be a verified merchant.
But it's not for the ones I have now. It's not scraping the price, but I still have the shop thing and all that stuff. So I could have very easily jacked up a lot of stuff. So just take that with a grain of salt. But
don't do what Jeff does.
Don't do what I do. So this is a great question from Sally. Sally, I always ask great questions. She says, so how do you get verified? I mean, where do you go? What is the process like? Okay, I've got my Shopify set up. I've got everything working right. Now what do I need to do?
So it's basically a website. It's help.pinterest.com/ a bunch of stuff. So just Google the Verified Merchant Program, and it gives you all the different directions on what you need to do. And then you basically can apply to join. And that's, once you do all the things, you just click through. But I would just be really careful, like, don't rush through the process, because I think, my guess is a lot of this is speculation. Once you're declined, it's probably harder to keep appealing. So take the time to really go through what they say, check your grammar, check your images, make sure you've got that privacy policy and that return policy in very obvious places. But yeah, I mean, I could tell you the URL, or maybe they can include it in this.
At least I just dropped it in.
I just dropped it in.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
So this is interesting from Samantha, because she goes, no, they do not tell you why. And then she actually gave us the quote of, like, thank you for your interest in Verified Merchant Program for blank. Unfortunately, at this time, we are unable to offer appeals or specific reasons on denied merchant guidelines. We apologize. We cannot share any more information at this time. So, yeah, boilerplate, like you said, Vanessa. But Samantha, thank you for sharing that with us, because that's why our community is so awesome. They share and they let us know stuff that, so if you've gotten that letter,
I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that most of it is probably merchant guidelines issues.
Yeah,
because those are pretty simple. Yeah. On
that,
you check it out.
So Maggie asked this question, and since we're talking all about this kind of stuff, she goes, "Can you be a verified merchant with Etsy?"
I don't think so.
I think it's just you just tie your store in, right, to Pinterest.
Yeah, and you don't own Etsy,
right?
And you own like that domain.
Yeah, Shopify.
You can product pins for sure.
Yeah,
you can tag them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
but I think that you'd have to have the ownership of the domain to make that work.
Yeah, so Etsy's got to be a verified merchant, right? Yeah, I would think so.
And they're pretty close with Pinterest. They're another collaboration, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Elisa, do you have some more questions? Because I got some more rolling in if you want to ask yours.
I do. But I don't want to hog all the questions.
Well, we're used to it. But go ahead.
Okay, so a couple of times, Vanessa, you mentioned like maybe they'll come through Pinterest and then they'll actually buy from an email. So, like, what role does email play in this process of selling via Pinterest?
I think email plays a huge role. And kind of the reason why I'm coming at that is just from the data that I see when my clients have an email that goes out saying, hey, like, it's not always a discount. It could be free shipping. It could be like, here's a bonus item if you make a purchase. And we almost always see, even on the Pinterest conversion insights where it shows you revenue, we see one of those little, like, whatever those are called in graph data. We see a spike. There you go. Why couldn't I think of that word? I'm a virus. That should be obvious to me right now. Okay, so we see a spike, right? Because a lot of people are at a different customer journey. I mean, they might be discovering your brand for the first time. I'm always looking for a deal. And when I go to someone's website, I'm hoping I'm going to find free shipping or 10 to 20%. And then I enter my email, and guess what? I forget about it. I get distracted. And so email is a huge, huge part of your strategy. If it didn't work, we wouldn't get 4,000 emails a day from Old Navy saying that they're having a sale, right? We know the big brands are using it because they know they need to just keep getting in front of your face, essentially. And also additionally, we haven't really talked about this, but we have the use of retargeting ads from Facebook and Instagram at play. Pinterest is not going to get the love for that, right? Like, if you end up making the purchase from Instagram, clicking over, poor Pinterest is the one that actually created the brand awareness. So we need to think about that when we're doing our social media strategy, or I guess search strategy, that Pinterest plays a role at that very beginning as well as towards the end. I've found a lot of clients, I've heard a lot of people say, even on these calls, that the lower cost products, 50 and under, are a lot easier for those more instant purchases. Anymore, people need some time to think through it or just maybe based on whether it's the right product for them.
That's a good point.
That's a great tip.
So this is a great question. So this is from Marie, and she goes, let me pull it up. She goes, as a shop, what is the best cover image or video to have? So I'm planning to create a video for the jewelry seller I work for. So let's just kind of break that down. So this is a jewelry shop. What kind of imagery would work best to sell on Pinterest?
So is she talking about the cover image for the profile?
Is that what?
Okay.
Yeah, I think that would probably be it. Yeah. So what would you guys say? Is that even something to struggle over, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think especially if you're using story pins, I don't know if she's able to or not, but if you are, that's going to be your easiest call to action, is to get somebody to your profile. So then in that case, yeah, I definitely would. What do you think, Vanessa?
I would think about your brand positioning. So if you are a high-end luxury jewelry designer, I'm going to want to see some high-end lifestyle images, whether even it's just someone's like neck, just kind of like a necklace, like in this area. But if your brand positioning is that you create handmade, or it's about memory making, maybe you make those necklaces with like your kids' initials on them, then I'm going to want to see you incorporate some of that brand positioning in your images as well, or video, really, quite honestly. So it kind of depends on what type of jewelry you're creating.
That's a great answer. So this is a great question, because we've been talking about it a while. We probably ought to explain what it is, because not everybody has it. But what in the world is a story pin? This story pin that we speak of. What are these and why are they important?
I'm going to let y'all take that one.
Oh, yeah, go, Elisa.
Okay, so a story is similar to a carousel pin, which I don't really hear people talking about anymore. Let me know if any of you are using carousel pins. But a story pin is intended to tell a story, so it's great for a step-by-step or for teaching something. And Pinterest is all in on story pins. So like I mentioned at the Pinterest Creators Festival, it was a lot of talk about story pins, and the suggestion of start with a video, then show people what they need, then show them how to do it, and then a call to action. And it kind of ends with a feature of you as the creator. So they're really fantastic for building brand awareness. The difference between a story pin and carousel pin, there are no links on a story pin, so they're kind of better for engagement and for kind of building a following and for brand awareness.
And you can't have video in carousel pins.
Oh, you can't? Okay, great, another difference.
That's the other thing.
Yeah, I guess you should. I tried to use carousel pins really early on because I thought it was a great idea to be able to, but I could never really get great impressions or clicks on them. Just kind of fell flat.
Can we talk about story pins, like just between us? Because I really struggle with them. I understand
brand. Really feel?
Yeah, just keep it. So the thing is, I get why they're wanting to do it. Pinterest wants to keep you on the platform. All places, all apps or whatever want to keep you on that platform. I struggle with story pins because one, they always talk about, even Pinterest founders say, hey, we're not a social platform. We are, a search engine kind of a thing. So links, I need links back to my content, and story pins don't give you that. And they want to build engagement. I mean, like, come to my profile, which has never been a thing before. So it's a mind shift for me. And I'm just wondering, and it's meant to be. Do you think they'll be valuable? I mean, I get they're promoting them right now,
Yeah, and I'm telling you, there are a couple sessions of that Creators Festival that I think will be really good. Like the first one.
I know. I need to watch
that. Yeah, I'll share the kind of list with you, but they are making a change. So one of the statements was something to the effect that we think creators deserve more than a double tap. You deserve engagement with your followers. You deserve to grow your following. And I know this is really different, but I will say, even thinking about it from kind of a historical standpoint, The followers we want are the ones that engage with us. So if we're bringing followers in by story pins, and you're likely to, especially because story pins are being shown kind of more because Pinterest wants us to use them. The followers you bring in via a story pin are the ones likely to engage. So when they engage with your other content that maybe does have a link on it, that content is going to be distributed more. So I think, even if we're not like ready to change our complete mindset about Pinterest, there is a lot of value in what you can get with a story pin.
Okay.
It's not traffic.
I agree.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to push
I
back
agree.
though. And you can, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
We're going to disagree.
We don't get to be in charge of the way that they work, but if I'm going to roll with it, I'm going to say, hey, like if someone engages, gives me one of those little heart or those little emojis or like specific to Pinterest on a story pin, I mean, guess we're going to be flooded with more of my in their feed that are clickable. So that's kind of how I think it way. It's like the free sample at Costco that leads you to purchasing the big giant pack of goldfish, something you don't need. So
everyone needs goldfish, Vanessa.
Yeah, now I'm really hungry. So I'm going to push back a little bit just because I think that this is the thing, because you could go back in a couple of our shows, even like a couple months, and we're talking about followers really don't matter on Pinterest, right? Because
I know, no, the number of followers.
Right. Okay. The number of followers, but growing your followers with story pins is kind of, it just feels like they've flipped a switch a little bit.
But think about what kind of followers you're getting. That's what has always mattered.
Right.
And to me, that's what you're going to get with a story pin that's really about you and your brand. You're going to get engaged followers.
I don't want engage. I want clicks and I want sales and conversions.
Yeah, but did you not listen to Vanessa?
I did. And I understand it. But I'm playing the part of a lot of questions that I've got from people about story pins.
Well, if all of you want to get where this is coming from, the Pinterest Creators Festival, the welcome session with Evan Sharp, they're talking about how they want to start building connections. So, and that's why story pins are kind of pushing story pins. So
would you say they're turning into a more social platform than a search engine?
I don't want to predict what they're doing, but I will say that when, you know how it is, when a platform releases something and they're all in on it, it's usually to your benefit to also be all in.
Totally agree. And that's why I'm just asking these questions. So, and it makes it, they did the same thing with video. Remember when video came out, they had the very, very top and all that stuff. And, so I get it. I just want to link.
And poke a little
and
bit.
And maybe someday they'll incorporate that. You never know. They might incorporate a link into it. I do like that it does. I do like that the very last slide, or whatever we call it, of the story shows your name and your profile.
Right.
Because, we've always been told in the past, 80% of people discover you in search and they never see your profile. And so it's assign a name, your picture, your brand to what you're doing. And I think it does kind of create that connection, or at least that recognition, that brand recognition. So we like them or how they operate. I do think they are playing a big role right now.
Yeah, I agree. There's no doubt that they are pushing them really hard, and because they're everywhere. So we're gonna have to dust off our board covers. So
no, we will not.
So so let's go back to and then you touched on this a little bit, Vanessa. So as we only got 5 minutes left. So we've talked about merchant status. We've touched, but how you just a little bit talk about how important your copy is on pin, title, and description. You kind of mentioned it, but and that's very important. But what are some, like, if people are just getting started, what do they need to focus on first?
Well, I think what I was talking about was actually copy on your page, which is super important, right? Like we need to make sure, I guess the question you need to ask, I'll talk about pin copy too, but the question your website needs to answer is, can this product do that for me type thing? Like whatever it is that you're doing, even if it's like a luxury experience. But on the pin description, I don't know about y'all, but sometimes I feel like the pin description isn't really actually seen very well by people. I wonder how much you're really even paying attention. But I mean, of course, you need to have the keys and that's really important. And, you know, we've seen a little bit of a shift away from the way keywords are discovered now. Their niches don't even have those sub keywords anymore when you're doing research. So you can utilize the trends website to get keywords. But obviously, you want to describe the product and what it can do for you, what it does. And you could change. So sometimes I've done this, like if my client offers a product in different colors and I'm sharing each one of those product pins via Tailwind, I'll change the color in the copy. It's the same product, it just might be azure instead of blush or whatever it happens to be. So I think it doesn't have to be, it needs to be described. But as we've noticed, Pinterest is really, really good at that visual search discovery. And it's good at seeing like, hey, that's a book. So or a certain type of book, a children's book. I'm going to match that with other children's books. Or I can tell this is a bouquet from a wedding. I'm going to attach it to other weddings. So there's a strong visual matching going on as well, which is why your images need to be clear and obvious and in focus and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, they were recommending at that festival too that your descriptions be 1 to 2 sentences long, which I think is real short compared to what we used to do. But I think it kind of confirms what you're saying, right? It's the visual that is the most important, and then probably the title, right? Because that makes a headline. Yeah. That's what we see in the feed.
Yeah, and that title needs to be good for SEO too. I mean, it's not just about Pinterest, so make sure it's obvious what it is that you're selling. I think copy is not the pin descriptions, but like copy on your website, enticing people to make the purchase is an art. It's not always super easy. Some people are better at that than others.
Great point. So, well, you guys have been awesome. Once again, don't forget to submit your blog posts, and so we can create some awesome things for you with the new Tailwind Create. You can find that at bit.ly/create something for me. All lowercase, all smashed together. Go there. What a great one. You're getting really creative with these URLs now, at least
You like that?
Yeah.
I tried to avoid uppercase and hyphens because they make you cranky.
They do make me very cranky. So thank you guys so much for this great show. Vanessa, we want to make sure that you get a chance to tell everybody where they can find you. And
tell us what you're working on.
Yeah, and what you're working on.
Oh, well, you can find me at vanessakynes.com. And I Pinterest tips there, obviously, as they come out, but then new updates come out. But I also share about time management and a little bit about homeschooling and business or life and how to make that efficient. So those are the things I talk about. If you look at my Instagram stories right now, I am talking about how to find caffeine-free products that taste like coffee because my doctor just said I had to go off coffee. So that's another thing I'm working on right now.
That's almost as bad as getting COVID. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh gosh, also chocolate. And my girls were like, how is that going to work with Halloween? I'm like, it's going to be tough.
Man.
So anyway,
anyway,
that's what I'm doing. That's where I'm hanging out. Instagram, you can find me on my blog, on Facebook, wherever. If you guys have any other questions, please feel free to tag me on those as well, and I'll try to get you an answer if I can.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I've been a big fan for a while. Thank you. It's been fun to have you on the show. We'll have to have you on again. And with that, Elisa, I'll let you have the last word. Don't forget to sign up for this new Tailwind Create thing. Go to bit.ly/create something for me.
Yeah. So you always give me the last word, and I'm never, ever prepared.
Never.
So I just want to say thank you guys for showing up, and for Vanessa being here, and Jeff making it so that all I have to do is show up and say things. So appreciate you.
Awesome. And I said the last word. Anyway, bye now. See you guys.